Good morning. It is Saturday morning, July 3rd, 2026. The markets are closed today for the 4th of July weekend. So I thought this would be a good day to get the third quarter add-on update out to you. And if you look right up here at the top, you'll see that I'm requesting that you need to delete your warehouse and chart views before installing the new add-on. You probably don't have to absolutely do that, but if you want the same files, the exact same files that I'm showing, I suggest you delete the warehouse and chart files. Now, this week I'm going to talk about the introductory charts for new users. I did talk about them last week, but I'm going to cover that a little bit more. And some modification I've made in the user groups. I just wanted to get them organized a little bit better. As always, the market is your teacher. We learn that every day, don't we? Okay. Any stock index or ETF mentioned in this presentation is not a recommendation to buy or sell. All trading strategies are used at your own risk. Okay, so let's go ahead. I think I'll start in the charting module and talk a little bit about these introductory charts. I've changed them since last week, and the reason I did this is people who are new to HCSI are totally confused because it is such a powerful program, and I just wanted to simplify it. And they can go through these steps when they're analyzing a chart. It's the first one is this one that's on the screen right now. It's just a basic chart, basic candle chart, black and white candles with VPA signals. Now, I don't know if I mentioned this last week or not, but if you want to just look at a plain chart, you can just deselect the VPA indicators and then you can have a nice chart for drawing trend lines and so on, and just go up here to the tools menu, or I believe it's also alternate A. You can bring that up. And from here you have access to trend lines and a lot of other tools, and I'll get into those as we go along. Not today probably, but at some point. There's a lot of things in this software that can be utilized that are probably not being utilized. Okay, so that's the basic first chart. I'm going to go back into edit current view, volume price analysis, and I want to display the VPA up here in the corner and also the VPA signals on the chart. Okay, you can see this information is up here and all the VPA signals are down here. Now the next one, same chart, except I put this end of day warehouse view in here so I can get a quick read, or we can get a quick read on what happened. This particular stock is Builder's FirstSource. I don't have a reason for selecting it, but I did. Let's take a look at MU. I'll get this out of the way. Now, this obviously is a very dangerous stock as it's being distributed now. It had a high of, I don't know, about 1255, somewhere in that neighborhood. And where did it close yesterday? At 975.56. So anybody that chased up here, if they're still holding, has to be really a bit nervous about this stock. But by putting this right in here, I don't have to go to the warehouse to get this information. It tells me the volume was above average yesterday, and it gives me the open, high, low, close, and so on. Is the fan still up? Yes. Relative strength is still 99, but the short-term trend is now down. If you look up here, if I click on the last day, this information here coincides. There's the same information we're seeing right here. Box one stock, it's down 22.3% from its 52-week high, which would be right here. And, that's a big pullback already. Okay, the next chart, same chart except with the intraday, since I'm doing this on a day when the market is closed. This information is not going to show up, but I just wanted to give new users and everybody the flexibility of an end of day and an intraday. Now the next chart is number 2, and this is a weekly chart. I didn't put a warehouse information view over here since it is a weekly chart, and that information is based upon daily charts. So you can just put these side by side if you want, the daily and the weekly, and see. I'll just compare them. And now I'm getting into my context with Micron. I'll just leave it on here. You can see, I'm going to zoom in a little bit for now, but you can see there are several warning signs on the VPA right here. This, if you look over here, transfer of ownership and upthrust bar, a sign of weakness. That bar really did pick the top. And then what do we have here? We have a pseudo upthrust and an effort to fall on the next one. And then we had a test. We didn't get a confirmation of the test, but we did get 2 more efforts to fall on heavier volume. And looking down here, look at the volume spikes up here as this stock was starting to be distributed. So the volume point of control turned negative. I'll put the crosshair on here. On this day, took a little while, but the 3 also crossed the 6 on that same day. It was holding up until then. Now, as far as the micro trend, that's a 3-6. Short term is 6 and 18, still positive but barely. And the 18 versus 50, the intermediate term trend, is still in place. Now, the final chart is when it, now this takes a little while to calculate because of the VFB, but where the green is on here, that means the fan was in place and intact, and where it goes white, it means that the price is closed below the 18-day, which is this brownish red line. So right here, you can see the fan was in place from, approximately 412 or something, all the way up to here, which was a double, and then a 1-day pullback, and then the fan is back intact after this low close here closes above this brown line. So it's just a nice visual to see when the fan is in place. And then down here, these green areas coincide with the BF, or the best fit trend. These trends are linear regression trends. So the long trend is up, the medium trend is up, and the short term, I did that wrong. I've got to click over here. Long term is up, medium's up, and the short term is down now. And it just went down yesterday. You can see it was down here, and it went down. The other 2 trends are in place, but I don't think the medium term is going to hold up much longer if this continues down. Now, I put this together for new users of HCSI, but I've been using it quite a bit. I like it. I think it's got a lot of possibilities. Now, up here, I didn't mention this. The industry group is blue here. You can see how the industry group is coming down also, and the relative strength to the S&P is green. So all along here, let's see if I can There's what I'm looking for. All along here, you can see that this stock was clearly outperforming the S&P, and then it had a big move up. Then it came down, and then it looks like there was a little move up yesterday. But the group was choppy in here. You can see this blue area was kind of choppy going sideways, but all throughout here, this group was moving up. So that's just a nice reference window to get a feel for relative strength. Also over here, here's a warehouse view. Says what industry it's in, the group rank, the sector, and the securities in the industry. There's 71 stocks in this group. Now, if you want to, there's 71 stocks. So what you can do is you can change to the industry group here. And every stock in this group will now be in the drop-down menu. And another thing you can do is you can click on the warehouse view, and I'm in the scorecard view. And you can see that AMD held up the best based upon the combo yesterday. Now, if you want to have a comparison with the ranking module, just bring the ranking module up. I happen to have this set on Ian Slow Relative Strength, which is similar to the IBD rankings, and you can see that MaxLinear is on top. Let's just bring up here. It was doing well until the last couple of days. The bulls took over here and chopped sideways, but it was mostly positive action, and then it took off, and anybody who chased or covered there is now feeling the results of that. Okay, I want to move along here and go into the designer, show you some things that I've changed. And if you don't like anything that I changed, let me know and I can put them back in. But I'm going to go to the market analysis user groups. This folder you will not have. This is where I need to, when I find stocks that are in the wrong group or stocks that need to be added to the group, I just put them in to add to the industry group folder. Now, the way I have this structured is, I'll take the filter off. I have the Market Insight ETFs, and those are accessible from the warehouse view. And it's just a quick read on what's happening in the market. Let's see if I can bring that up quickly. So I go into my top-down relative strength to S&P sectors, QQQ, and so on, and just go to folder number 2 here, and down to number 5, and it's the end-of-day relative strength to the Market Insight ETFs. And here we can see, based upon the raw combo on a one-day change, where the strength was yesterday and where the weakness was. You can see that money flowed in to some of the more defensive sectors, and money flowed out of the technology sector. So I like to use this just for a quick read. There's a version of this for intraday also, so you can stay on top of the market and see what's happening intraday. Now, I had a folder here, major indexes updated weekly. It was market cap weighted, but I decided to eliminate it because there really wasn't a lot of difference in the charts. But I can put that back in if somebody was really using it. Also, it cuts down a little bit on the processing time that when you're doing your updating. Now here is Major Markets Plus, includes ETFs. If you want a quick read on the major markets, we don't have NASDAQ, but this ETF is representation of NASDAQ. The reason we don't have NASDAQ is I think they wanted something like $5,000 a month or some ungodly amount of money just to get their index, and it's certainly not worth it. But everything's in here. Let's go here and I'll click on this and go to the top-down market analysis, just number 1 here, and you can get a reading on what happened yesterday. Look at the SOXX yesterday, down 33.38%. Okay, let's bring up the chart on that. See that it's had a dramatically long run with the fan up, and then some shakeouts here where it slipped below the 18, and then a nice run here, another one below the 18, chopped around, looked like it was heading to a new high, and then the past couple of days have been down, and the VPOC turned negative here, also back here. But look at the volume yesterday. Heavy volume in here also on these days where it's selling up. So it's getting, the rotation really has begun. We'll see if it continues, but it probably will. And if it does, it can get very nasty. Okay, let's go back to the designer. This is where I am right now. These are major ETFs and ETNs. You can see there's quite a selection here. Now these are HGSI broad market indices. When I label them HGSI, it means that these are indexes that are created by HGSI. Whereas up here, these are symbols. You can see these are all symbols and indexes and ETFs that are put together by other people. But these are put together by HGSI. These two also in the updated weekly. There's always changes going on with additions and subtractions to these indexes, and the bar chart is pretty much on top of them, but that doesn't always change so quickly up here in the reference group. So this is why I work from the market analysis user groups, because I know these are as up to date as I can keep them. But getting back down here, HGSI broad market indices, this is what I have in here, and of course you can just transfer it to the warehouse and see which ones are still, the 3s are above the 6. The Dow, I think it closed at an all-time high. This is HGSI index. Because it is an index and it's equal dollar weighted, this is the kind of chart you get, but it will look different than the Dow Jones Index. See, you don't have the tails like you do on the HGSI created index, because it this is what's provided by the exchanges, and yes, it did close at an all-time high. And one of the reasons was I think Apple had a big day yesterday, so it was heavily influenced by that. Now I've come back to this folder here. Let me close this up here. Broad market indices, I'm going to the Dow, and I'm going to change to the index group. And you can see that Apple in here. And it had a big day yesterday, so that heavily influenced the Dow. I'm just going to go to a basic chart here. but big move up here. Yeah, Trump's been promoting Apple, so people are jumping on the bandwagon, I guess. Getting back to the designer, these are the industry groups, the major industries, and the sectors. Now, I created these industry groups from the data in HDSI. And the way you can do that, and you don't have to do it because I did it. I just want to show you how easy it is. I'm going to go to all securities and go to the scorecard. And all of these stocks are in group. They have to be in an industry group. There's 4,591 of them right now. By the way, I updated a bunch of groups last week, a bunch of stocks that need to either be changed or added to the database. But all you have to do is click on the spectrum analyzer and go to industry. And then you just create the user group. I'll prepend this date just to differentiate it. I did this for the industry groups, the sectors, and the major industries. So you have all three of them. But this is up-to-date information because all of these stocks are, I assume, in their correct groups. There's always going to be a few errors, but when I see them, I try to correct them. So that's how simple it is. And let's go down to user groups, industries, and you can see that I pre-pended them. I believe that's what it's called. But this is what I did up here or down here. Did that for industries, for major industries, and for the sectors. Now, I obviously don't need that group that I created, so I'm just going to delete it. And it's gone. Okay, I may have changed a few things down here. Pretty minor stuff. These are sector ETFs and component stocks. Sectors expanded. Spider ETF sectors expanded. These are world ETFs. If you want to, let's just go to the ranking module and see where the strength is here. Taiwan, South Korea. These are on E and slow. Let's take a look at Taiwan. And you can see it's been really strong here. We're seeing a little distribution here right now. Now I'm going to go down here, chart number 4, context. I just noticed something. Oh, I see. Okay. I did this, made this 1. This is 1A and 1B. So actually, there's 6 charts in here. I'm going to go back up to 1A, and you can see here that on this pullback, volume was relatively light compared to whatever. But it's just nice to have a world view, and I put gold and silver in here. Look at what has happened to silver. Here it was very strong when it was green, and look how it's fallen out of favor. Wow. You can't fall in love with this stuff. Here's the peak up here at, let's see, $109 approximately. And now it's down to 54. But this is just a nice way to keep on top of things. That's why I put it in here. These are the most popular, most heavily traded ETFs. Here's the Ultras, the Direxions, Currency, Bitcoin ETFs, Forbes Best Leverage. If you like the leverage, these are the ones that Forbes like. It's the best. Specialized indexes, artificial intelligence, ETFs and stocks and so on. I think they're mostly complete, but maybe not. I mean, I'm always adding and moving things. So anyway, I've made those changes. I think it's a lot more efficient. If you disagree with me, if you want something put back in, just let me know and I'll put it back in. Before I leave, let's just take a look at the artificial intelligence stocks index. And let's see what I have in here. Well, it looks like most of them are in there, but you can see how strong it was, and then now we're getting into the distribution area, or phase, I should say. So where does the market stand? Let's take a look. We've seen some distribution here. Let's go back up here, and I'll go to the broad market. Actually, I'm going to go up to the major indexes updated weekly. I'm going to transfer these to get out of the scorecard and go to top-down analysis for HGSI. And you can see what happened yesterday. The Dow was up. We saw it was at an all-time high, but the rest of the market or the indexes were down. Now I'm going to just take a look at the S&P 1500. It's really been quite strong. This is equal dollar weighting. Let's drop down to this chart, and you can see that the fan is still in place. Here's a couple of pullbacks. And, this is because of rotation. Just because the techs are starting to be rotated out of, it doesn't mean the market's really going to hell. So let's just leave it on this. And I want to go back here for a second. This same group, just go down to number 3 under top-down process views for HGSI generated indexes, and look at here's what am I looking for? Right here, number 3. If you look at these columns here, you can see the Dow had 83.33% advancing, only 16.67 declining. Where was the weakest? SOX, 100% down. But these indexes, here's what I'm looking at, the S&P 1500. Look at this, it was 1.61 to 1, 918 up, 570 down. So it's misleading just to obviously misleading just to look at the tech stock. So let's take this S&P 1500, and I'm going to do a quick look at the HGSI index charts. And you can see the A's went up through the E's and turned down a little bit yesterday. And the A's and B's far surpassed the D's and E's. So accumulation has been strong. Here's A accumulation right here, and here's B up at the top. And this is the S&P 1500. Let's go down to let's see the advanced decline line on the S&P 1500. A lot of strength there. Here's the percent above the moving averages, and this is strong. You can see above the 20, the 30, the 50, and the 200. They're above their moving averages, all of them, so there's plenty of strength there. Let's go down to 6 have not had any potential buys and sells here. On this day right here, the volume numbers added up, but the force indexes were positive and the VPOC was positive, so nothing was generated here. So we really haven't had any sell signals on the S&P 100 using 1500 using my charts here. These are the same, but I put the histograms in here just to show that there is still a lot of strength here. And let's see, what else do I want to show? This is accumulation again. Looks strong there. And then here's a weekly trend chart. The weekly trend chart is showing a lot of strength yet. So I don't see the market breaking down now. I see rotation, and that's what we should be focused on. So where is that rotation? Well, that's where we have to go back here, and I'm just going to leave it on this view right here, and I'm going to drop down to my sectors, the HDSI sectors that I created. And let's look here. There's in the utilities, there's 72% advancing, 26 declining. Healthcare has been strong. Materials, the advancers over decliners. Weakness, of course, is in the technology sector where it's being rotated out of. And now I need to change this chart. I'll just go back up to those basic charts, introductory charts, and do this one again. You can see the rotation out of here. Now let's compare that to utilities. Well, it doesn't look too great, but money has been flowing in here over these days and went sideways. And this is very short term though. Let's bring the ranking module into play. Here we go, the industrials. Let's change this here. Percent change, and I'm just going to do number 1 week and change it to raw relative strength. And based upon the sectors, 1 week, and we're short a day here, but the healthcare sector, communications, financials, consumer staples, energy is down here, technology is down here. So healthcare, the last week, change to the industry group. You can see I'm in healthcare. Just go up to the top. And these are the big movers here. A lot of biotechs, I'm sure. Okay, that's it. This movie is a lot longer than I wanted it, but I wanted to take you through, show you what I've been doing and how you can get the most out of this software. Thanks for listening and have a good 4th of July weekend.